Hey guys, it's Van here, and I thought about doing a storytime video. This one is definitely revolving around how I've definitely been growing up around people, and I actually have grown up around mute people for my life. Uh, so, getting into it, I had a friend. Let's call her E or M. Actually, I'll just call her M. Yeah, she wasn't one of my close friends, but until the last time or last part of her staying where I currently was residing at the time, uh, it really did show that I was one of her true friends, though. But M was a very mute person, and we also had a similar friend that goes to a place called Speech. It's where you work on how to pronounce things or just how to actually talk. Me, it was more of I couldn't pronounce my SH or my Fs. I kept getting them confused, but they both were kind of mute. They just had a speech impediment though. They weren't selective mute, but uh, they were actually really shy about using their voices anyways because of how quiet they talked. But anyways, we're gonna call this second person Sunny. Sunny, M, and I went to speech, and we always played these speech games to get better understanding of it. But that's how I actually started hanging out with M. I actually had fun with M in speech, and M thought the same way. And so we decided to actually start hanging out on the playground. This is elementary school, by the way. Sorry, I thought they would be really useful by now, but um, yeah. In elementary school, me and M would go on the playgrounds, talk to each other, and every now and then, get into the little misfit stuff that kids would usually do. I even did this one thing where I didn't even tell my grandmother that I was gonna go hang out with M after school, which big no-no, especially after um, when you're in elementary school, and the fact that I never went to anyone's house besides my former friend. Let's call him V or Van. Yeah, Van. That's a better name. But uh, so me and M went to a ice cream place to get ice cream, mostly because her brother was graduating from I think middle school or high school. I couldn't remember, but we went to go get ice cream. We were just talking, and then like as the time ticked on faster, I started realizing it's around 5. I had to be home around this time, and I was freaking out. But M's mom was like, "Oh no, I can feed you. It's all right. We can do that." And I'm just freaking out because I hadn't even told my grandmother that I'd be even hanging out with M. Not even that she would actually let me do this, but I just went ahead and did it anyways. Uh, Mostly so I didn't want to make M feel upset or left out, or also I also didn't want to look like a loser who wouldn't be able to do stuff with their friends. So yeah, I kind of did something dangerous around that age. But uh, later on, this also strengthened our bond. Not to a part where I considered M a close friend, but uh, it was close enough to where she invited me to her birthday. It was also her going away party. She was moving to somewhere else because her dad had gotten a job. She was really sad and she invited everyone she considered a close friend. And so I showed up at the party after getting dropped off. And also, I broke my sandals, so they eventually had to go buy some new ones. It was really embarrassing, not gonna lie. And also the fact they didn't know how big my feet were, so they gave me a um, way too small size, but I made them work anyways because I felt too embarrassed to say anything other. So, anyways, I was the only one that showed up to her birthday, and I felt so bad that that was her going away party, and that she invited everyone. Like not just like, oh, the next day it's gonna be my party. This was like weeks in advance, where they could have like possibly stated uh, they had stuff to do, but no, everyone said they would come. Everyone said they would come, and M was really excited, like to the point where they had so much food. so much like candy and pop and all that stuff. Had areas where we could sleep. We had, and they even pulled out all their gaming consoles to play. And no, I was the only one that showed up. And it was really sad to see M kind of cry, but also try to push it aside that I was the only one that joined. But, you know, I try to make the most of it, or at least, when you're an elementary school kid, you try to make the most of anything, especially having a console you never had before, since I grew up off the Wii. And occasional Wi-Fi access, but it was mostly just the Wii. I mean, I love my Wii. I'm not dissing on the Wii, but whenever you get to play Call of Duty Zombies for the first time, that's kind of special. Uh, but they definitely scared me with their ghost stories and stuff like that about the attic being haunted with ghosts, and that's why everyone sleeps downstairs instead of everyone sleeping upstairs. But let's be honest, since they were basically going to be moving in the next couple of days, the only reason why no one slept up there is because everyone was downstairs because all their stuff had already been packed away. But aside from that, they had a very lovely family, a bunch of dogs, and getting on to the more uh, funny part of this story is whenever I got sleepy, we planned on sleeping in the same bed. It's elementary. We didn't care enough to sleep in the same bed or not. But eventually, oh no, not mine, but M's mom told me I couldn't sleep there, mostly for the fact that M's mom was gonna sleep with M, and I didn't really care, but I didn't know where else to sleep. Mostly because their dad took the couch, as well as their brothers took the couch. Some of their brothers also went to their friends, but uh, so guess what bed I got to have? The dog's bed. And you're like, wait, you're gonna sleep in this small little dog bed? No, they actually had a mattress for their dog, like all their dogs. And I would expect to have like maybe they put a fresh, clean bed sheet over it. No, they just gave me a blanket and pillow and said good night. I was already scared of one of their dogs because they had abnormally large nails, but I sucked it up because I was scared to say anything else. So I tried my best sleeping. Not really well. I ended up also trying to sleep upstairs. Didn't go well either. But when I finally get some sleep on the dog's bed, I woke up to have the dog that I was scared of laying on top of me, and I was like scared stiff. I wasn't moving at all. I was just petrified. And then when I finally tried to move, the dog woke up, and I don't know if he was just playful or he just didn't like the fact that I was moving when he was trying to sleep, but he did nick me with those nails. No one cuts his nails, mostly because he kind of would go berserk if someone touched his paws. Except for M. M could always touch their paws, but definitely not me. So I kind of was like very scared. I just like eventually just ended up sitting up and just waiting for someone to wake up, which M eventually did, and they asked, "Oh, how'd I sleep?" And of course, I was like, "Oh, great, I slept like a baby." But yeah, no. The only reason why they woke up is because they had to take all the dogs out, and it was fine. I don't really remember anything else past that, and I was kind of sad I didn't get their phone number to keep in contact with them because M was a really great person to talk to and be around, but it was always sad to see that I was the only one that cared. But ever since M's going away and S's or son, what I forget what I called him. Let's call him S again. Those two made me kind of soft around mute people or select muted people, which if people are new to my sorry, if people are new to my content, Nico is one of my now close friends that I hold very dear, and they're also a selective mute. So when it comes towards them, I have a soft spot because I used to have friends that were also mute. But yeah, that's the end of the story. I'm planning on doing a little bit more of this. I'll make it in a playlist, so if you ever just want to put this on the background with listening on, I don't know. But I hope this is a different change of pace and the people stopping by have similar ideas or stories that they can also tell in the comments because I love hearing anything similar to these. And also, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend or your week, depending on when I get this out. I'm hoping to get it out the same day I've made this, but we'll see how it goes. Again, see you guys later, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.